Well, with the three-way switch done for the light, I want to do something with these old railings. They were put in the 60s and they weren't put in all that well, so I'm going to have to redo them. First, I got to get this old rug up. That was put down again in the 60s. That's what the color it used to be. So for right now, I'm just going down to the corner and do one section at a time. But anyway, on these railings, they're put in with square bolts, and over there is square bolts. So what I've found is the easiest way to do it is one of these tools. 14mm fits the head. So I'm going to get this out of here and then start tearing up the rug, and then I'm going to design a new railing because this is not to code, so we're going to fix that. Well, with all the bolts out, or lag screws, this ought to come apart. There we go. Alrighty. Get that downstairs and get it out of here. Well, with some effort, I got that section cut out. I got to get at the rest of it later. But if you've ever taken out 60-year-old carpet, you know what a pain it is. So to build the railings, I'm out in the barn. I've got my cut station set up there. And then if you swing around, there is my sanding station. I bought Douglas fir, my post, I got a rail, and I've got some Douglas fir 2x4s. They're all going to be sanded and routed, and I'm just smoothing this up. So here I've got a 1/2-inch round over bit, and I'm going to round over these corners, make it look a little better, maybe touch it up with some sandpaper afterwards. That's how I'm going to do all the pieces to make plain fir look a little better and more like that expensive railing material. Now I'm about ready to start drilling the holes in here. So I've got my 27/32 Forstner bit. I got the tape set at 1 inch. Here's my 4.75 pipe spacing. That's from center to center. So what I've been doing is you put it on the mark, align it, then with this center, I make a line, and then I just go right down through 14 times. And that'll be my guide for drilling. And then for the handrail, I'm doing pretty much the same thing. This is the profile of the handrail. So I am putting it on the previous line, marking it. Of course, the center line for here isn't going to work for that, so since this is 1.5 inches, come across here and it is 3/4. And I just work my way down through for the 14 balusters. With all the spacing finally done, it's time to drill. So I got my special drill bit, Got the tape set at 1 inch. Put it on 1, and we'll see how it goes. There, that should be 1 inch. Alrighty, so I just got 14 or 13 more here and 14 on the upper handrail, so it's going to take me a while. Well, there's the bottom rail done. Got all 14 holes. Well, as you can see, I'm down to the last hole. This got a little warm and I had to cool it down, and my battery gave up the ghost after 26 holes. So I had to grab another battery. This one doesn't gob up quite as bad as that fur did. There's how it, on the upper part, it gobs up. Well, as you can see, I'm all set up for priming and painting. Everything's going to be painted except that. That, I'm going to try to stain it. I know that there is some, what do they call it? Finger joining. But there's another place where it's finger jointed. So I'm going to try to stain it. If it doesn't look good, we'll go to plan B. So to prime it, I've got some Kills all-purpose interior exterior primer, and I'm just going to apply it. I'm going to make sure that I don't get it in any of the holes, because that's going to affect the clearance. And 10 minutes later, it's all primed. Just have to wait for it to dry. So this is the Sherwin-Williams Emerald. It's a special color that I'm going to put on. If you watch the Farmhouse series, you know that this special green, blue, gray that we found in the house, we call it mud, because it kind of looks like mud as it goes on, and this is what we're going to paint it. Maybe you want to watch, maybe you don't. It's like watching paint dry. Did have one comment that they wanted my videos to be faster. Well, if you don't want to see how I'm doing it, then yeah, you would want it faster. But I assumed you wanted to actually see how I do things. So there's what it actually looks like with the first coat. It's kind of a gray, green, blue, a little bit of everything in there. Not bad for a first coat. The second one will really spruce it up. So I'm just finishing up the second coat on this newel post that I built. Second coat always looks so much better than the first. So I've got to decide what finish I'm going to put on this. I know it's not going to be painted. So I've got two things. I got an old can of Maple Pine Howard's Restore Finish, and I've got my favorite Old Masters Natural Wiping Stain. So what I'm going to do real time here is try to figure out which one I like. So we'll do that. And this top will come off. Haven't used it in forever. There we go. Okay. So I don't know. Just looking at it, I don't particularly like this. It's kind of dark and it really shows the grain. And with the finger joining, I don't think I want that. I think I'm going to go with this, the Old Masters. There, that really shows you. Yeah, so I guess I'm going to stick with my Old Masters. Can't go wrong with that. So there's the Old Masters Natural that I put on it. It's got a nice warm glow, and I think that's what I'm going to end up with. And then of course there'll be 2 coats of satin and 1 coat of gloss, like I always do. So I think that'll work. I thought that I was done painting. However, she who must be obeyed, she looked at the house mud and decided that she didn't like it, and that we were going to paint it Valspar's signature antique. That is the color of the stairway, the walls. So I sanded it down with 220, and now I'm going to put 2 coats of antique on. And I hope that it'll pass muster this time. Well, the lighting may not have been the best on that previous shot, so there's the difference. That's the mud, and that is the antique. Right there. That's what she wants. That's what she's going to get. At this point in time, I've got the coat of the Old Masters Natural Stain, and then I got a coat of satin poly. So what I got to do now is I've got to rub it out with the 2000 wet dry sandpaper, just like I've done in the past for other projects. And then I will put another coat of satin poly on, and then I will do the final coat of the gloss, and that will be my handrail. Now what I got to do, this is where the rail is going, the bottom rail. I got to cut all this vinyl tile out. I got a line all the way down through, and I've been working on this little piece, and let's see, it's slow going. But it is working. So anyway, you get the idea. Well, I'm just finishing this up, getting that vinyl tile off. It's been miserable. It has been miserable. And what it looks like is that not only did they, over the planks, did they put down the vinyl, but they put down tar paper and then plywood. I don't know that I'm ever going to get that tar paper off. That's just probably not going to happen. So I got to decide whether I want to cut down and take this section of plywood out. I think it's something like 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8, probably 1/4 inch. I haven't measured it. I don't know. But that's what I'm seeing, and it may not get much better than this if I just decide to leave it. Well, after looking at what I had here with the tar paper, I found that down there the floor isn't level. So instead of shimming, I'm just going to pull all this up. So I've got a Ryorbi plunge saw right there, and I've started right here. It's interesting, the floor was red, and then it was kind of a, well, it looks blue there, but it was kind of a gray actually. So this whole thing, I'm going to have to cut it and get it out of there and try to level it up, because the pieces over there were not laying flat. I was going to have to shim it, and I'm not going to shim a railing. As you can see, got all that plywood out of there. Now I've just got a million nails, so I've got my special pass load nail puller. And I just got to go down through and pull every single nail. And then I got to figure out exactly what I'm going to do to make that section of the floor level, because right in there's a bit of a hump. So I ran into a bit of a problem on this. What I did, I drilled a Forstner bit hole there and there, and I took a wire and I went down in. There ain't nothing there. So I took my oscillator and I cut, and that right there is the ceiling of the cellar. So I've got a beam over there and some old style electrical wires. So what I think I got to do is I got to cut this out. Then I'm going to have to maybe put some blocking against that beam that's in there, so that I can set in a chunk of that 4x4 post and nail it in, so that I can have something solid, and I'll have it level right here, so that I can put that newel post on. Because obviously, with just 1 inch of old board, that's not going to work. So at this point, I've got that cut away, and this is going to set in like that and be flush with that, and I'll glue and nail that, and then down there I will toenail and glue that into that beam. That's going to give me something that I can put my second 4x4 in, be flush, then I'll have something solid to attach the newel post to. A lot of extra work when there's absolutely nothing there. So I've got the 4x4 in place, and I got the glue top and bottom, and I've just got to get a battery here. I got some 3-inch drywall screws. keep that flush. Twist it just a bit. There. I just have to cover up those screws. But I'll toenail in there and I'll have it. So what I've got here is got a little spacer. I got some spacers here. I was going to put in a piece of the 4x4 flush with the floor, and then I would attach the newel post onto it like that. But I thought that was kind of a dumb idea, because if I go buy a brand new post, and it's going to be expensive, but to do it right, I'm just going to buy another one and route the corners and paint it. And I'm going to set it in from down here right up, if I can put it in here. It's a tight fit. Like that. Then down here I'll take a Forstner bit and I'll drill a couple holes so that I can recess the heads of two big screws and screw it to that 4x4 that's back here. Then that thing is going to be rock solid, and it'll be like the old one was, because the old one had two lag bolts. Thing is, they had cut the post so there was only about 1.5 inches that it was holding, plus there was nothing in there to hold it. So this is going to be much better, because that is up against that other 4x4 and setting down on that board there, and with the shims, it's rock solid. And I have checked, and that's level. You got to move it just a touch there. That's level. So I think that's going to work, and it's going to be better, because the idea of this rail is, if I want to move a bed or something upstairs, downstairs, whatever, this railing has got to go. It's got to be removable. It can't be permanent. So that's why I'm doing all this extra work, and I'm hoping that when I'm done, it's going to be more solid than it was, and it will be removable. So that's the plan right now. That's what we're going with. So this is the new post. I put it in the slot, made a mark of where the base rail is going to go. Here's the base rail. I've got 2 pocket holes cut. I'm using the 2.5 inch 64mm screws. Those are the ones that I've got right now. That's what they look like. And get that perfectly aligned. It ought to go. Okay. There we go. I just got to do the other end. With the base turned around, here's the vertical that's going to go against the stub wall. Got the pocket screw holes. get that aligned. Twist it just a little. So I'm going to have to back that off just a touch. There we go. Get that other one in and I'll tighten it back down. Well, there it is. It is in place. Took a little effort. What you have to do is you have to put this end in while holding that end up at the same height as that piece right there, about 7 inches. Then it slides right down into place. Well, I just wasn't happy with the setup. It wasn't as solid as it should have been on the far end where that stub wall is. So I took another piece of 2x4 and made that post into an L. So it wraps around that 2x4 at the end of the stub wall to make it stronger. So I've got a mark at 2 inches and 5 inches because I put a 7-inch piece or 6-inch piece of 4x4 in there. So those are the two places that I'm going to drill. I've got a 13/16 bit or Forstner bit because that's the size of that, because I'm going to recess that. And when I go to drill, I've got a 1/4 inch drill bit because these Simpson timber screws are .220 and I want it to go through this and then into the other timber. Just want to make a slight just a touch more. Eyeball engineering. There you go. I'll get the next one. Yeah, that's good. So, change bits and drill the 1/4 inch hole. Okay, got my 1/4 inch drill bit just barely in the chuck because I got to have 3.5 inches. Try to drill it straight. One. There we go. So the bits I'm using are the Simpson T40 1 3/4 inch power bit. There we go. So let's see how this works. There. Not bad. I think it's going to look a little better than what was there initially. And it should be a lot stronger. Oh yeah. That is not going anywhere. So that's definitely improvement over what was there. And that's flush. I like it. And right here, I've done the exact same thing, top and bottom. as far as I've gotten right now, it is as solid as the house is. Next week in part 2, I'll be dealing with the iron balusters.